Well, in today's One Nation weather forecast for America, we're talking about the storm train rolling on into portions of the southern plains, primarily for us here with wind and hail, flooding rain, and the potential for some tornadoes as well as we go throughout the next few days. I've got a look at that coverage coming up in this video for you here. So Thursday setup looks like this. We've got some of the showers going back into the mountain west, even some mixed precipitation, even though it's June. Yes, first day of June for us here. We still have some of that mixed precipitation in those highest of the elevations for us. And you can see in portions of Montana, Wyoming, we have a flood threat with some of the rain and storms that will go there. They should stay sub-severe in that area, but where we've been seeing the severe storms, that's into portions of the Panhandle of Texas, portions of Oklahoma, as well as into Kansas. We will have some flooding threats there for the day today, and a small zone with a level 2 threat for you there of severe weather that's going to come around Childress, Texas for us here. Rainfall with a Gulf flow pressure system as well. But look at the white colors in portions of the eastern half of the country for us here. Many communities soaring well into the 80s to near 90 here. Places like Chicago right along the lake, you might stay closer to 80 degrees. But in general, many communities in the Midwest, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, back through the Mid-South and the Southern tier, we're seeing many of those temperatures anywhere from 85 to 95 degrees. Also notice the Northeast, even portions of Maine, the Portland area, communities like that, we have the potential for 80s to near 90 degrees. Some of these 90s getting going into portions of Vermont as well. It is going to be a very warm day for the day today for many communities. Now, severe weather outlook for us here for your Thursday. The level 2 severe weather threat, again, it's in Lubbock to Childress for us here. But notice the level 1 threat surrounds it a little bit further. It goes over into eastern New Mexico and portions of Oklahoma as well. Your severe hail outlook, that is going to be what's really giving us the level 2 threat for the day today. Wind and tornadoes look to stay on the level 1 side of things, but still possible for us here, with that hail having the potential to get 1 to 2 inches in diameter this afternoon. So here's a look at what that looks like for us here. 11 a.m. Central Time, not looking at too much activity, but by the time we hit your early afternoon time frame for us here, 2 p.m. Central, notice an early morning wave of storms kind of pushes into Kansas. That should stay, in general, sub-severe, but still some lightning possible in that. Where we have lightning along with the hail, that's where we're going to have the severe potential developing. I think that really gets going from Lubbock to Childress, 5 p.m. Central Time for us here. Notice how this kind of expands more as the night goes on and kind of turns into a tattered line, maybe some rumbles of thunder out to your west in Oklahoma City for us here. Some showers pushing in with some thunder into the overnight hours as well, as those storms kind of weaken into portions of the Panhandle of Texas and surrounding areas. Now, your 24-hour rainfall Thursday into Friday, many of these blue areas could pick up an inch or 2 of rain, but some of those isolated purple areas could pick up 2 to 4 inches, so we've got to watch out for that level 2 flood threat from Kansas back into the Panhandle of Texas, as well as the one in portions of Montana and Wyoming. Also, the potential for some isolated flooding in Florida. And then as we go into your Friday, the level 2 risk goes right down to that Mexico border for you here west of San Antonio, through Midland, Lubbock, Amarillo getting in on that level 2 severe weather threat, San Angelo as well. Childress will still be in on this, and then over towards Oklahoma City, at least a level 1 threat edging into your area. And I think this could even turn into a level 3 threat based on how these storms look, but it certainly looks no matter what happens, you can still have this damaging hail 2 to 3 inches in diameter, getting up into that tennis ball, baseball size here as we go into your Friday afternoon. We also have the potential for at least a slightly more elevated threat for a few tornadoes for us here from Midland to Lubbock especially. Not quite on up into the Panhandle, but certainly some of these storms could produce damaging winds as well. So it's definitely going to be more of a multi-threat day as we go into our Friday. Not much going on as you eat your lunch, but as we go towards 3 p.m., 5 p.m. Central Time, look at how these storms explode into portions of the Panhandle of Texas, going up into southwest Kansas for us here, all the way. Notice some of these isolated cells as well. That's not what we're seeing today, but as we go into your Friday, that is what we're looking at for us here. Some of these isolated cells could produce, yes, the hail, but also tornadoes. This forms more of a line and pushes off towards the east as the night rolls on, 9 p.m. Central Time. Once again, might be one of those nights you see the lightning coming in from the west in Oklahoma City. This line has a better chance of making it to Oklahoma City, though, as we see that backward C-shape develop and some of the damaging winds into the overnight. But still, Oklahoma City looks to receive the end of these storms as they really weaken and die down, turning into more of a heavy rain threat than anything. Here we go, your flood risk. Level 2 flood risk from portions of Kansas back into the Panhandle of Texas. Another level 2 flood risk in Montana and Wyoming for us here. And the rainfall through Saturday morning looks to get plenty more for us here, so we'll get an additional inch or 2 in many communities on top of what we get for your Thursday. As we go in the Montana region for us here, some of these spots could pick up 1 to 3 inches, with a few spots closer to 4 to 5. Now, shifting gears to temperatures as we go towards your Thursday afternoon, look at how many 90s we have going up into the Midwest again. More of these hot temperatures, and that just looks to build as we go into Friday. 90s in the Mid-South, some 90s in the Northeast, but look how the Northeast begins to cool down as we go into Saturday afternoon while we see the heat blast intensify even more in the upper Midwest with mid and upper 90s in some communities. Then as we go into Sunday, that lingers, but notice how the north and the east is starting to cool on off. That is a sign of change. But look at these dew points as we go Friday afternoon with these dew points in the 60s for many of the spots that are going to be near 90. It's going to feel more like 95, even up to 100 in some communities for us here. So you definitely want to make sure if you don't have air conditioning, you have a way to stay cool and get the fans running. Make sure your air conditioning is checked out in these communities as well. It's a little late for that now, but you can see these Friday temperature departures will be well above average by about 10 to 20 degrees for many communities. As we go towards Sunday, though, we get some of this cool air infiltrating from the north and east. The warm air slides back off to the north and west and kind of falls into tatters. And as we go towards the middle of next week, June 7th through 8th, Pacific Northwest, yes, it's hot there, but look at how the east cools back down for us here. And the cool down causers as we go into Saturday, wouldn't be shocked if one or two of these cells go severe as we go into your Saturday, your Friday and into your Saturday for us here in the northeast, where we get some of these scattered showers and storms to get going. But it's these low pressure systems that bring cool air down from Canada that will really help us recover from the heat. Now, development possible in the tropics. I'm not too worried about this system with a 20% chance of development, according to the National Hurricane Center, just kind of lingering in the Gulf. But look at what the GFS has out of this. Really, a lot less than what we just had with the coastal low that pushed on shore in the Carolinas last weekend. So this does not look to develop to me right now. I think they're just mentioning this. And really to get everybody knowing that, yes, this is the start of hurricane season for us here. And yes, we can still get heavy rain without a tropical storm. We can see an inch or two of rain, some spots up to 4 inches in Florida out of this. Now again, your 2023 Atlantic hurricane season outlook brings the best chance for near normal activity, which is about 12 to 17 named storms, 5 to 9 hurricanes, and 1 to 4 major hurricanes, which would mean we should get through the first two columns on this list, hopefully not more than that, going from Arlene all the way to Nigel this year, and hopefully, again, not more. Here we go. One Nation Weather Forecast for America. I want you to subscribe. I want you to like, hit that like button, and go ahead and look at these credits as well, because these are some great sites to use.